All right, so Tuesday, what's going on?
Pretty much all posterior chain. So hamstrings, glutes, and back. For strength, we're doing double kettlebell front rack walking lunges. This is gonna be 5 sets of 8 each leg. So this is actually something you're gonna start and finish with, because the half kneeling cable face pulls are gonna be 4 sets of 12 with a 2-second hold. So we're gonna start here and finish here. For reset, we're doing single arm over the shoulder with a med ball, stepping over a box. That you're gonna do 10 total, switch arms to do 10 again. Renegade row and reach is gonna be 10 each side as well. And then for hypertrophy, barbell good mornings, it's gonna be a pretty gnarly tempo. 4 seconds down, 1 second pause, 2 seconds up, 1 second pause. And that's gonna be supersetted with box jump, 3 sets of 12. This will feel a little bit aerobic just from tempo and volume here, and just because this is box jumps. Right now, this is technically Tuesday's workout. I have a gut feeling that this is gonna turn into Thursday's workout, but that's why we test workouts. We'll find that out. All right. Step overs. As you guys know, for the reset section, I tend to love to put like prehab corrective exercise. So this is just basically a way to get the legs, the core activated and warmed up, but we're doing it in the lateral fashion, right? One of the things when you're training the body in a functional aspect is you want to think about 3 dimensions, right? So for this one, we're just going to do some lateral step overs. Having the med ball only on one side is obviously going to challenge the core in a unilateral fashion. This one's going to be 20 total, okay? So this is kind of like the renegade push-up in the position. You're just basically starting in a position like a push-up, dumbbells at the bottom. The arm that is not moving, you want to try to think about pushing into the floor as hard as you can. The fact that this is kind of a pull and punch, there's obviously going to be a little bit of rotation. So you're going to see kind of how the whole spine rotates a little bit. Ideally, we're trying to keep the emphasis on rotation, kind of being more mid-back. So this is obviously something we want to coach to really stay stable at the core. But like I said, arm that's down, push as hard as you can. The other arm is gonna pull, and you're almost gonna try to take the momentum from that pull to turn it into a punch where I rotate my body over. This one's gonna be 10 per side. Kettlebell front rack, walking lunges. Pretty straightforward in the aspect of the lunges. The double kettlebell is gonna light your arms and core up like a Christmas tree. So big thing is just kind of posture in your position that you're actually holding the kettlebells. So you wanna think about you're not slouching, letting the elbows crash. So you're actually trying to pick your elbows up and stick your chest out. So you wanna stay tall in that position. But I also don't wanna flare my elbows too far out to the side or too far out in front of me. So enough to keep the elbows upright to support the kettlebells, but not too much to the point where I'm actually putting an impingement into the actual joint itself. 8 down, 8 back, so you're gonna go heavy on this one. We're setting the lunges with half kneeling face pulls. So number one thing is just kind of position, making sure that knee, hip, shoulder are all in a straight line and stacked over each other. So number one thing is squeeze the butt, right? So push your butt forward a little bit, yeah. Tuck the rib cage down. Now as she pulls, she's gonna think about like she's trying to get the carabiner to actually touch the very top of her head. So she's gonna initiate with the elbows and finish with the hands, because there is a little bit of extra rotation. So the goal is get to the back, 2-second hold, squeeze as much tension as you can create. Right, the big thing you want to pay attention to is as she's pulling, she's not going into extension with the lower back, right? So she wants to stay tall, she wants to think big chest, but she obviously wants to focus on all the tension in the upper back and posterior shoulder. 12 reps, 2-second pause. Okay. All right, we're playing for hypertrophy. Hypertrophy work. 3 sets of 8 on good mornings, 3 sets of 12 on box jumps. We'll explain both of them separately. So for the good mornings, big thing I want everybody to pay attention to before you start moving is every single rep, you're gonna try to get as much air into your stomach. So try to feel like you're filling up your torso with as much air as possible. Stay tight, and then nice and slow, you wanna think about pulling the butt back and letting the shoulders naturally drop so the whole spine is moving as one unit. All the tension in the hamstrings, glutes, and back right now, that she's gonna push through the floor. So try to get her hamstrings and glutes to help her as much as possible, so this way she's not initiating with the back, right? So nice and slow, 4 seconds down. Pause for 1 second, 2 seconds up, so a little slower on the way up. The whole point of us putting a tempo on the way down and up is obviously to focus on tension. So 4 seconds down allows her to get into a good position. Pause for a second, 2 seconds up, still a little bit slower on the way up, right? Biggest mistake that most people are gonna do is they're gonna think about like kicking their butt out and just throwing everything into extension. So make sure that we always stay tight here without going into too much extension. 4x8, 4, 1, 2, 1. Well, here's one thing I want to pay attention to. Usually when we coach this, we're coaching hip displacement, which means I'm trying to get my hips as high as possible. So I'm landing in a very upright position. Today is going to be more about vertical jump, right? So you're actually going to land in a little bit more of a squat, right? So it's going to teach you how to be explosive into extension with your hips, but also how to be fast in deflection to land into a higher box. So we're going to try to work up to a high box, 3 sets of 12 on this one.